so this little girl here with me is making me so proud. Was invited for the UN General Assembly to give a keynote, and one of the first people to call, that she called, was me. Privileged. I am privileged, and she called me, and I'm so proud of you, Sanju.
Thank you. Thank you.
I call her my little girl because she is a little girl, but when I stand beside her, I don't feel little, and I mean, she doesn't feel little anymore.
A 28 little girl.
Yes, but Sanjana, you are back from. You're staying in New York most of the time, like we were talking. Half of the year she's in New York only, and I'm so jealous of her. Well, welcome back to Mumbai. How are you liking it?
Love the warm welcome. It's just lovely. The October heat with its open arms.
Killing us.
No, but always good to be back home. No jokes there.
Absolutely, but tell me the nerves that was happening in the flight when you were going, when you entered the place. What was it like? And you know how people reacted here and how proud everyone was.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the nerves or disbelief started when that email came, and I think I called you soon after that. But you know, when you as actors, email पे हमारा ज़्यादा काम होता नहीं है, तो we're not used to it. So suddenly I saw my phone and I saw keynote speaker at the UNGA, and I thought, spam, of course. And I open it and it lays out the whole kind of flow of events and why I've been selected, and I refreshed it some 10 times because it didn't feel real.
And you were the youngest one ever from India to give a speech there.
Yeah.
It's such important issue.
Exactly. I mean, and to, you know, to be selected by an organization like the UN to represent the voice of the global youth in that sense just makes you feel like more than anything that India matters. You know, that our voice matters, what we feel, what we have to say, the fact that we're the largest youth population ever in the history of time. People want to hear what we have to say, and it felt like a moment where I wasn't speaking on behalf of Sanjana. I was speaking on the behalf of billions of young people around the world, and those 5 minutes were given to me where I was in a way entrusted by them to authentically represent many people's thoughts and emotions. So I don't remember when I felt this nervous or whether I've ever felt this nervous, because there are 7,000 people sitting in the GA, literally, and wherever you look, there are people, you know, in the balcony, in front, no teleprompter.
How many times did you practice it?
Oh, the nerd in me, you can imagine. I got the email only 6 days before I had to be up on stage.
You had only 6 days?
Yeah. So from getting the email to writing the speech, rehearsing it and flying, I had to do it really quickly. But I think, you know, that's when it's these moments when you realize how much potential we have as human beings, that if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And that moment for me was very, very significant and consequential, personally and otherwise.
You know, you talked about equality, you know, when you were there, but also tell me, as youth of India, what are the key issues you think we need to work on?
I think primarily what I spoke about there, right, which is that the reality is that us who are between 20 and 30 years of age, the decisions that are being made today are going to affect our future and our children's future. So the most important thing is that we need to have a seat on the table in making those decisions. We need to be contributors to those decisions, because if people of generations before us are making them, they don't have to bear the brunt of the repercussions. And I think the decisions, whether it's related to education, whether it's related to health, gender equality, we need to be taken in the fold, because we know what we're facing in our schools, in our colleges, at our workplaces. It's our real lived experience that matters. And this really was a plea to the people in power to wake up and smell the coffee and acknowledge that we are capable, we are hardworking, we're resilient, and to trust us, to trust the youth to make the right decisions.
Absolutely. But have you ever reached out to our government to talk to them, to listen up?
I think, that's been one of the greatest parts of my advocacy journey, that when esteemed organizations like the UN place faith in you, and I hold an official position as youth champion with the UNDP here as well, that interface with the right stakeholders is given as a part of our partnership. And because I, as a young actor independently, may never be able to have that access, but it's my work that got me that position there, and now that position helps me get that access. And honestly, more than directly being able to impact governmental decisions, because I think that's a domain that I'm not a specialist at, my area of focus is more community based. It's making, Ratan Tata sir passed away yesterday, and we've all been mourning his loss, and I've been a huge admirer of his growing up. And he always said this one thing that's literally written in my house as well, which is that if you want to walk fast, walk alone, but if you want to walk far, walk together. And my all of this just comes from that emotion, that we need to walk together. One Sanjana, one Diya, one person working won't make the difference. It has to be thousands of us together. So I love going to colleges, to universities, spreading the message. Even when I'm promoting my films, for me it's an opportunity to, via Kizzy Basu, via Manjari, also make the youth believe that you are gonna change the world,
Let's come to films. You're doing great here. But most of the time, because you're in New York,
Oi.
Listen, I just want to ask
Untrue.
that is there something cooking or happening out there? I have doubts, Sanju.
I mean, I think that's the answer. But
that means yes, guys. Maybe this girl will be seen in an international Hollywood film. We don't know, but the silence says it all. You have heard this on NDTV.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're like the rest of the world is, even when the UN gets an Indian to speak at the GA, in the same way entertainment globally is also opening up to us. And I think being a part of narratives internationally, not because they're made in the West and there's any kind of difference between what's being made here and being there, but just Indian
storytelling.
Yeah, and the kind of stories that you get to tell, like how Ishan just made us all so proud with The Perfect Couple, right?
Yes.
His accent was relatively neutral. He was very much Indian.
Very much Indian.
But
he didn't change anything. And
yeah.
That was the best part about it. He didn't have to be someone else.
Yeah, he didn't have to caricaturize an accent and so that's where we've reached now. That's where even global entertainment has reached, and frankly, they want us more than us.
They better want us.
Yeah, and so as young actors, it's just on us to erode these boundaries and do work everywhere.
And OTT has just got everybody together.
It really has. Yes. Because when I see there was a New York, so the New York Film Festival was happening at the same time as well, and while I was at a fireside chat speaking there, and the room was filled with studio heads and platform heads, and a few of them came up to me and said that, hey, congratulations on Dhak Dhak. And I'm like, 1 second, like, you have watched Dhak Dhak? I knew that our film is on Netflix. I know that it topped the global charts, but it's only when you meet people in person,
that's when you realize.
You really realize that, okay, like, they've actually watched it, they remember you from it, and therefore they want to work with you. So it's
so nice.
It's the OTTs are giving us global exposure in a way that we don't realize.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for this announcement to happen whenever it happens. Yes. All the very best, Sanju. I love you.
Thank you.
We are so proud of you, Sanjana. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.